Hello and Merry Christmas, professors and fellow students. I'm Holly Erickson, and this is a presentation of my scholarly project. I chose to do my scholarly project on academic language and mathematics for a couple of different reasons. First of all, the Asian population at my school did not test well overall in math last year. They did not meet their growth goals, and so I wanted to address mathematics. And secondly, the population that I serve is highly conversationally fluent and still struggle with academic language, and so I wanted to address that issue as well. My project is a unit. It's 10 days of lesson plans, and it includes a language-based assessment for the skills it covers. What I chose to focus on was multiplication in third grade, because that's where we teach it in my school, where it's introduced, and I decided to focus on the language aspect, the academic language that goes along with multiplication. I chose third grade because we have a large population of EL students in our third grade, and I chose multiplication because it's such a foundational skill in math, and I wanted to tackle something like that that was foundational. What I focused on was an introduction to multiplication, so the 0, 1, and 2 multiplication facts, and I ended up focusing a lot of that time on multiplying by 2 or doubling. What I ended up discovering through my literature review was that academic language deficiencies often go unnoticed because of conversational skills, and they often go unnoticed in the math classroom because math can be seen as a universal language, and so a lot of times language skills aren't really thought of when EL students struggle in math as opposed to reading. So what I learned was that through one method that we could use to really get academic language proficiencies up, it was explicit vocabulary instruction. And what I looked at doing with explicit vocabulary instruction was making sure that it was taught through student-friendly messages, and also that it included all 4 of the language domains. And I focused on the ones that are often neglected, the productive domains of talking and writing. So the first thing that my project is rich in is activities. One thing that I learned through my research was that EL teachers are typically taught to begin by pre-teaching vocabulary, and I found that sometimes in math it's better to begin with an activity. That activities really provide that background knowledge and the content awareness that kids need before they're even pre-taught that vocabulary. So I created a lesson plan that's rich in activities and also that's rich in children's literature, because I found that provides a real student-friendly input for the kids. So I just wanted to show some of the books that I chose for the unit. The first one is One Grain of Rice by Demi, and it's a folktale set in India, and it's just beautifully illustrated, and it teaches the concept of doubling, and it also is very multicultural, especially for Asian students or students from India. So this was a great book, and the kids really love it. The next book that I use is called Blockhead, and it just goes further with the concept of doubling. It's about the life of Fibonacci, I think is how you say it, and Fibonacci's sequence, and this as well is a multicultural text with multicultural messages in it. And then I chose The Rabbit Problem, and this is mostly a picture book, and it talks again about the concept of doubling and how quickly rabbits can double, and it's a cool pop-out for kids to enjoy. And the last book that I chose to use is this book that's called Now for My Next Number, and it has a CD companion, which I use for teaching the kids to count by 2. So that's a really nice book that I'll be using in the future as well. The other aspect of my project was making sure that I included the productive domains of speaking and writing, and so I include a Blackboard writing assignment. And I feel that it's important with EL students to make sure that those are scaffolded properly, and so I used some information from Nation's book for that. So that's my project.